All right, welcome to another edition now of Final Whistle. I'm your host, Jordan Fort. Of course, we're down to the business end of the 2022 World Cup in Qatar. The USA, they came up short against the Netherlands in the first round of 16 match. Dutch delight, much to the delight of our analyst Eric Rademacher, but we'll talk about that later on. Australia, they fought hard. They put up a good fight against Argentina, but of course it's the two-time world champions that have gone through. We start to separate the pretenders from the real contenders at this tournament. And there's no better time to make your pick as we gear up to see who will take home the most coveted trophy in football. With me, coach and the technical director of Humble Lion, Andrew Price. Thanks for joining us as usual, coach. Former Reggae Girls assistant manager, Sharona Forrester. She was there when the team qualified for the 2019 World Cup in France. And assistant coach at FC Cincinnati 2, Shavar Thomas. Of course, he was also the coach of Portmore United when they won the Premier League. Technical director at Campion College, Eric Rademacher, is always here with us as usual. And he has a special smile on his face today. You're not seeing it yet, but you'll see it soon. On Zoom, joining us as well, assistant coach of the Reggae Boys, former assistant coach Miguel Coley, and junior analyst Liam Henriquez. All right, so let us start in reverse order. We're going to talk about the two-time world champions, Argentina. They going through to the quarterfinal stage of the World Cup after dismissing Australia by 2-1. All right, let's pause that first because remember when we saw the Maverick on the go yesterday and the vendor downtown said he wasn't selling any Argentine flags. I'm sure he'll be selling a lot more today. Not sure if that's where the Maverick is, but let us find out where the Maverick is now, as he's always on the go.
Okay, it's the Maverick on the go. How much time I must tell you? You can never know. Guess where the streets carry the Maverick? The Maverick in our community named Campbelltown. For those who don't know where Campbelltown there, Campbelltown say how far is Sabina Park from here, so? About 200 yards from Sabina Park. Right in the community here, so. And with a spot named Welcome In. Where you know so that a trucker come black way. We literally in the streets, you know. And we there at the corner, you see that street over there, so? That street over there, so named Liverpool Street, in the middle of Campbelltown. And I tell you people, crazy vibes are going right at the watch spot here for the World Cup. Crazy. You see, all of the community where we go so far, there is no other spot where we go, where we have the kind of surround sound and excitement where we have at this spot right there. So, right there, so welcome in a Campbelltown. George, come here, George, boss. George, this is the man says straight up. And show them, no man, see the camera there, no, George. Show them your band and which team you support. People, we can tell you, the people, a whole Argentina fans around now, including the TVJ crew over there. So, see, them nervous. You should see people that like them one ball a while ago. George, you nervous a while ago when it looked like Australia?
No, man, you can't nervous, man. You saw Messi a spring, you know. Yeah, man, Messi fit, you know that. Nah, man. One Messi, brother. Nervous, man, you man.
All right, there's a lady. Come here. There's a lady in the shop. Amidst all of the Argentina fans, this lady, she almost cried tears when the match done because she said, what's she there? Come here, my friend. What's she there? She can't hide. No, Lord, she can't hide. No, she a Brazil fan and she vex how Argentina win. But tell the truth, people. So my version, they also play some domino while everything is going. Look here, everybody talk about Lionel Messi for the World Cup. He's 35, but he play like he's 25 now, don't?
Yeah, yes, he's strong. But my ball is still Cristiano Ronaldo, you know.
Ronaldo.
Yeah, my boy, that man. Yeah, my team, that. Yeah, Portugal, my. No, Germany, but him gone home. But my baller. No, it's my baller.
All right, big up yourself. All right, some people, we're in the middle of, with their Campbelltown. You see? And we're having a ball around us, so because apart from the match and the stadium vibes inside us, so it's also customer appreciation day. So you know, so the things are flowing. We have some, what I don't know, it's goated soup. We have some goated soup and a pot of curry goat around their bubble as well. You understand me? So people are having a ball all in the spirit of World Cup 2022. See? And we say, straight up, and you say the Fox already have one place named Liverpool Street. Hear me, though. Hear me, though. Me I go walk off and show the people them how the Mavericks step towards Liverpool Street. See it, Liverpool Street in Campbelltown, yeah? See, Liverpool Street in Campbelltown. History these people. Take a look at Liverpool Street in Campbelltown. It's the Maverick on the go!
All right, I suspect that you'll have a lot more Argentina fans coming out of the woodwork, and I'm sure there'll be some of the fans who are probably earlier in this World Cup, Shavar, probably supporting Germany, who've already gone home. All of a sudden, they'll become Argentina fans. Just as we're about to start the discussion on Argentina, of course, and Australia, Coach Eric Rademacher's, if you can give us a shot of Coach Rademacher's, a nice wide enough shot, because there's something on the desk there. It's in the color of orange. I just want you to hold that up for us, Coach Rademacher's.
They didn't let me wear it. We're not wearing it yet.
Yeah.
So you know, we get the jersey, but my good friend Shavar also gave me a little pin when I have to zoom in, you know. USA never got the big feature today.
I think that pin is probably about just as big as USA's chances today. Just hold the pin up
Exactly.
so our cameras can get a close-up of that USA pin. That's probably about the size of the US chances today against the Dutch. But we'll talk about that a little later.
But it was
on.
a good try, Shavar. It was a good try.
I mean, it's just pleasantries, you know.
it's a reason why.
No, the pin was great, you know. I mean, the USA, that was a good try.
It fizzled out in the end, of course. But Shavar is smiling because Argentina, who he's quite fond of course, getting the better of Australia. Though there were some nervy moments, in the end, it was the Argentines and Lionel Messi himself, getting on the score sheet. Julian Alvarez also getting his name on the score sheet. An unfortunate own goal from Enzo Fernandez, getting Australia back into it. And of course, Argentina had to really defend well. Lisandro Martinez coming up with a few big blocks to help them hang on to that lead and get into the quarter-final. All right, let's start off now with Coach Shavar Thomas. Coach, the Argentinians giving you a few heart palpitations there towards the end, but tell me how you felt about the performance overall.
No, it was a mature performance. You could see that the players have confidence, have grown from the first game to now. And, Australia came out, make it tough for us defensively, and they gave us the space, Messi the space, and Co the space, and they executed very well. I mean, you can't come in this World Cup for what we have seen. All the teams so far have put up a very good fight. None of the teams during the group phase have lost all their games except for Qatar. And Australia have shown strength to strength from their first game on. So, it's an even performance, but the Argentinian team came up with the goods.
Yeah, they've been pretty much consistent, Australia. They've scored a goal each game.
Exactly.
That's their quota, Coach, and they got it as well today, Coach Price. But did they have any other option in terms of than setting up how they did against the Argentines, really defensive?
No, they didn't. I mean, that's how they have dealt with the entire World Cup. They know their strengths and they know their weaknesses. They basically set up 2-4 blocks defensively. And what they would try to do is try and get Argentina on the counter. And it didn't materialize. And the game is a game of moments. And one of the moments of the game was when Messi pressured a fullback deep in the Australian half. Ball went out for a throw. Out of that throw came a resultant free kick. From the free kick, he got space. And he put Australia to sleep early in the first half with that wonderful goal. Kicking through 3 defenders. Ryan was unsighted by it, and he gave Australia the lead. And then, as they came out to the second half, they took control of the game. Alvarez scored, and they were in good control. But as soon as Australia scored a goal, then it was a tense moment till the end of the game. And they showed a good resilience to fight off the Australians because they came at them knowing that, 2-1 games are a very difficult game to manage. But all in all, Argentina are doing just enough to proceed for the tournament. And in the 1,000th game for Lionel Messi, he definitely showed his class again today.
Yeah, Coach Coley, before the Australians played Denmark in their final group game, you said that, listen, if you're a Danish player, you don't want to be telling your grandkids that you were knocked out by Australia. Well, it was the Australians who progressed to the round of 16. Here they were against Argentina, not necessarily embarrassing themselves either. But tell us where the game was won for the Argentines in this one.
Well, I think they raised the line. They raised up the line. I think it was a pretty calm game until the altercation with Lionel Messi and the left back. And from there, I think the Australian, I think, lapsed a little bit. And in this stage of the game, you cannot, you snooze, you lose. And I think that's what really happened. However, I believe the Aussies strayed a little bit from how they played. If you watch the statistic, they were a team that with more, they played a lot of 3 units pass, so they would be breaking the defensive, the midfield, and the attacking line a lot. And I thought that he had a lot of space, especially in the midfield with Argentina playing with a number 6 and 2-8. He got a lot of chance to play and was going side to side. I think he could make more penetration passes, probably to Duke or probably wide, and they could play put a lot more early crosses inside of the box, because I don't think Argentina defense is that good. You know, I think they should have pressured them a little bit more. But I don't think they could have won the game based on the quality that the Argentina have. I think they showed, you know, they're finding their rhythm. They show a lot of balance. And you could see, you know, the movements around Lionel Messi. You should see Alvarez going in the forward, Messi moving in the pockets. And I think they're trusting each other and they're going from strength to strength. So a good workman-like performance from Argentina. And also Australia, they made it, you know, a little bit more difficult for Argentina in the end. But overall, a good game.
Coach Coley, Coach Price had a question for you before we came on here. He was wondering how much ground did Rodrigo de Paul cover? So I told him I'd get that question out to you. I'm sure you have the statistics somewhere. I'll allow you to search that one up, because it seemed like he was everywhere today, according to Coach Price.
But I haven't gotten this statistic, but he has been doing 10 kilometers and 11 kilometers in the match. So average up about 10.5. Messi has been doing, the first match he did 7 point something. The last 2 games, 8 point. And I think probably this match he moved a lot more. So maybe 8.6, something like this. Because when he moves more, Argentina is a better team.
Yeah, as we go to Liam now. Liam, what impressed you, or you know, I guess what did you see in this contest with Argentina and Australia, and why were the Argentinians able to separate themselves? Of course, we know they're the better team, but it was shown that in this game you never really know.
Yeah, well, Argentina have shown, you know, a lot of people, you know, when they look at a South American team, they think of Brazil, you know, the Brazilian flair, but Argentina have shown they're an efficient side, and I think there's, you know, nothing wrong with that. They, you know, play the game, they win the game, and I think that's much better than, you know, having a side where it's just, you know, go out there and have the flair, and, you know, occasionally, you know, lose the game. They're efficient, and it's working well for them. They're proved to be a second half team. They got their goals in the second half. I think Australia set up, you know, pretty well. We know, I mean, if you look at their players on paper are really not that, you know, good at all. Like, you know, mainly A-League, Australian League players, and some of the Japanese, like, second division and stuff. So not great players at all. But they set up very, very well. And, you know, obviously to defend, and hopefully, you know, hit on the counter, get a goal. They got their goal, and they've scored in every single game. So Australia have a lot to be proud of. I would have wanted to see more from Garang Kuhl off the bench for Australia, who plays in the La Liga for Cadiz. But yeah, as for Argentina, sure, they would have wanted to win the game much more comfortably, but honestly, like, yes, they aren't great defensively, but the goal was completely, you know, very lucky goal, and they're just happy right now to advance to the quarterfinals.
Yeah, all right, let's go to a quick break now on Final Whistle. When we come back, more discussion on Argentina versus Australia. Stay with us. All right, welcome back now to Final Whistle, continuing our discussion of the match between Argentina and Australia. Argentina winning that one by 2-1. Lionel Messi and Julian Alvarez getting the goals for the Argentines. It was an own goal from Enzo Fernandez, which got Australia on the score sheet. All right, Liam was making a point before the break. I think I counted, and 4 second division players from England in that Australia 11. 3 in the first division in Scotland, 1 from the MLS, 1 from Denmark, and 2 from the A-League in Australia. So, as you're saying, Liam, really, if you look at the names on paper, not a fancy team at all, these Aussies. And it was not unexpected for Argentina to get the better of them. Sharona, you noticed Scaloni didn't start Angel Di Maria today. He went with Papu Gomez. Why do you think he made that change?
Well, Di Maria has a slight thigh injury, I believe it is. So with the depth that he has, he wouldn't need to risk him as he would expect to be going to the quarterfinals and want him there instead.
Yeah. When you look at the starting lineup, though, Coach Radamakas, you know, Lautaro Martinez was a trusted man up front for the Argentines at the start of the tournament. Now we see where Julian Alvarez is playing that role. Martinez did come on in this contest as well, got a good opportunity, wasn't able to find the score sheet. What did you think went into the thinking from Scaloni to change that up?
I think Alvarez earned it. You know, during this World Cup, you know, you're going to look at the players and even talk about the midfield a little bit. But I think the Alvarez combination with the other players around him, the movement that he has, even just the combination play that he kind of looks for, I think it's something that works for the team. Combination with Messi, I think it's a little bit more fluent maybe than we've seen. And aside from that, he's been finishing. And we see Lautaro Martinez, he came on again today, as you said. And yes, it's great when you're lively and you get chances, but you have to score. And I think he played quite bad today when he came on and didn't do himself any favors. So I think that's part of it. But you see them finding their ways. I think they're getting better in that chemistry. Midfield, as I say, I want to look at with DePaul, Enzo Fernandez, and McAllister. Was not the midfield I think anybody was really looking at before the World Cup. Paredes, I think, was quite sure of his spot, kind of lose it there. McAllister coming on as a sub, impressing. But I think they're finding their way better. The combination, as I say, those 3 in the midfield, but then also DePaul with Messi. How is that combination going and how are they connecting with the forward line? So I think it's going a little bit better for them. I even look at the defense line. I do think it's part of maybe a thing they need to improve on, but Lisandro Martinez is on the bench. You know, and it's not because the coach made a crazy decision, it's because he has 2 defenders that are doing very well. So yeah, I think it's clicking together for Argentina. I mean, as Price was saying, every team shows some tenacity, some fight. So I wasn't expecting it to be a 90-minute smooth ride. But that is maybe some part of concern that I think, well, we should have controlled that match a little bit better towards the end. But overall, I think Argentina can forget about Saudi Arabia by now and move on with confidence.
Yeah, 54% possession for the Argentines compared to 34% for Australia. Can't say you're totally surprised that the Argentines dominated possession. Of course, the most important statistic, 2 goals for the Argentines and 1 to Australia. Lots more goal mouth action for the Argentines as opposed to the Aussies. Of course, that goal was actually an own goal. So really not a shot on target because that would have been going wide. Lionel Messi, though, of course, is going to be the talk of the town, Coach Price, anytime Argentina plays. Let's assess his performance today.
I think another class performance from Messi. You know, someone said earlier.
Another class performance?
Another class performance.
You mean in general or during this World Cup?
No, in this particular game, man. That's the game we're referring to. He looks like about 25 instead of 35. I mean, he was very energetic today whenever he got the ball. What I like with Messi for this World Cup, he's conserving his energy. He's not all over the field, you know. He's playing like a false 9. He drops deep into midfield, picks up the ball, looks for passes, and every now and again he gives you that shimmering dribble that he normally gives where he releases the ball to his teammates. So I think he had a very good game today. What I love, and I think was a change of the game for me, was the fight that he showed when he got in contact with the fullback deep in the Australian half. When he tried to battle him for the ball, got the throw in, and from there on, everything just progressed. That he got the ball in the middle of the park, and once you give somebody of Messi's quality, that type of space, he'll hurt you, and that's exactly what he did.
So you like a mature Messi over a dribbling Messi?
Well, he's an elder statesman, so he's operating in the way best that he thinks he can help his team. And I think right now the team is gravitating towards him. I mean, when he scored that goal, I mean, the entire team, the only person that wasn't there was Martinez hugging him. So, you know, they're very elated for him. They want him to do well, and I think that's one of the reasons why Argentina is willing themselves on in this tournament, despite that early loss to Saudi Arabia.
I don't mean to start up this discussion about Cristiano Ronaldo versus Lionel Messi, but just to say that in the matches we've seen at this World Cup, and we've even debated it here, whether or not Cristiano Ronaldo should play. We've not said that any at all with Messi. It's all about how well he will play. I don't think we've even really spoken that much about Cristiano Ronaldo, except for the fact that he got a controversial penalty awarded to him. So take that if you're the Ronaldo supporter.
As Coach Price said, as an individual, Messi have more pressure on him going into the World Cup
Without a doubt.
than any other player. You know,
And I mean, I think we have to be fair that at this stage of his career, he's still at a much higher level than Cristiano Ronaldo is now. I mean, there's a talk right now about whether Ronaldo should even be starting for Portugal.
But that is really something from the past 6 months. I think last season, yes, he's getting older. We all have the idea he's getting slower, and he is getting slower, but he's always been able to adjust his game throughout his career. How many goals did he have last season? I think he was top scorer for Man United, right? I think he was one of the only ones that still kept them somewhat in a
25
spot
goals.
of. So I think it's the last 6 months. I mean, as we saw in the interview, a lot of it is also that emotional feeling. Am I feeling trusted? Am I feeling wanted in my position? And he did not have that at Man U. So I agree with you, Messi. I think is at a higher level right now than Ronaldo. But I wouldn't be surprised if a motivated Ronaldo can still squeeze out 3-4 quality matches at a high level, or even 6 months after this World Cup.
Coach Coley, we're talking about Lionel Messi, and of course, a lot of the griping has been about his, I guess, lack of goals in knockout games for Argentina. Here he is, steps up in the round of 16, gets a goal, puts his team on his back, and then they get the 2-1 victory. How would you assess his performance today?
No, it's a very good performance. And just to add to the debate before I get into your question, is that they're two different players. Messi is a playmaker, so he will, he will always be there to, get the ball, play, get all the players connected. Like you said today, he did very well. And you find also today that the players were finding Messi a little bit quicker, and that's very, very important. Like against Saudi Arabia, they were not finding him as quickly enough. You find it's the ball moving up a little bit higher in that number 8 position and finding Messi. But I'm happy for Messi that he was able now to find a goal in the knockout. He's in the league, he's doing very well, and he's bringing that form now to the World Cup. And as you know, Messi probably said 10 more players come, and it can be devastated. But he has a team around him. They love him, they're playing for him, and they want him to win this World Cup more than anything else. So.
Yeah, we're going to talk a little bit more about him as well. Liam, Messi now with his 3rd goal of this World Cup, joining Alvaro Morata, Kylian Mbappe, Marcus Rashford, Enner Valencia and Cody Gakpo on 3 goals. If you're looking at him, his World Cup performance on a whole, how would you grade it?
No, great. As you said, he's top in the goal charts. Whether he's tied right now, he could be at 4 if weren't to have to miss that penalty. But like Coach Price said, I think he's playing fantastic, considering he's playing smart. He knows he's old, and he's not in those 2015 prime bars years where he can just dribble out the whole defense. He's playing smart, and he's conserving his energy, and he's using it in a way that will be effective for his team. So yes, people might look at Messi right now and say, he's a shadow of what he used to be. Well, yes, because he's older, but he's look at Ronaldo. If you compare it to Ronaldo, who isn't really doing much and probably isn't really in contention for the starting lineup right now. There is debate that he should be starting, but Messi is still a key focal point to this team. And when he gets on the ball, he looks very, very dangerous. We saw the goal against Mexico and Australia. The little space he has to get that shot off, and he still does. And 2 fantastic goals, as well as a penalty against Saudi Arabia.
Yeah, every time Liam mentions age, we have to put it in the context that Liam is only 16 years old. So anybody who's over 20 is old for Liam. But I think these athletes, Ronaldo and Messi, are really defying what we thought of aging athletes and really extending their careers well into their 30s. Of course, science has a lot to do with that and technology as well. Sharona, I want you to chime in here on this messy discussion and how you think he's acquitted himself with all the pressure he's had.
Well, I think he's older and wiser. This is your 100th career game. 1,000th career game, and you score your 789th goal. You know, you have, it's tremendous, and you want to win because you're retiring and this is your last World Cup. And to think that this is your best team around you, it's the perfect setting for something great.
Yeah, by the way, I hold no horses in that race between Messi and Ronaldo. Just pointing out the facts here. Don't get too carried away, guys. But want to also touch in on this discussion between the Netherlands and the USA. Of course, Coach Rademacher, I'm going to have to give you first go here. You were all over Louis van Gaal and, talking about the fact that he doesn't want to change his ways. Coach Coley said, well, he's 71. He's not going to change his ways, and he's not going to change the system he plays. He's about results. He got another result against the US today. I wouldn't say it was the prettiest game. It was the greatest watch for a neutral. But at the end, he came away with a 3-1 win for his Dutch team, and now he's into the quarterfinals of the FIFA World Cup. So how would you rate the Netherlands' performance today, Coach Rademacher?
Very good. I was looking and I said,
Very good.
Yeah, I would say very good. I mean, Van Gaal, and I think what he was able to have the team really know is when and how do we speed it up and we play nice football. And I think it's somewhat maybe naive that Netherlands been in the past, that we always want to play nice football. You all see it with the clubs, with Ajax. And I think Van Gaal has been good at knowing, like, we don't need to play nice football for 90 minutes. We need to play it at certain times when it's needed. And I think the first goal was a perfect example of that. They somewhat let America have the ball and here and there, but they find a little time where America tries to press up higher with Musa, with Taylor, and McKennie, and they find then a quick one-touch passing out of that. And at those times, they can play beautiful football. We, as fans and person that watch football as entertainment, want to see more of that and are wondering why is Klaassen playing and didn't he start with Gakpo at 10 and Bergwijn and Depay up top, as I would like to see it. But Van Gaal is somebody who looked very much at results. And I say, if I can play very comfortable, sitting back, saving my energy, and just have 10 spirit moments with greatness, why would I want to control the game for 90 minutes? I'll just do that. And I think he was very good at that. One thing crucial, plenty of things, but I think that the wing-back battles is something that I really enjoyed watching today between Blind and Dest, where I actually think Dest was having the overhand in the beginning. But Blind, as much as I criticize him, amazing goal with the positioning, and he started his run there nice and early and reaching in front of the defender, great assist. So that was interesting. And then Dumfries on the other side, I would say Robinson had a good World Cup. Started, I think, the match pretty decent for the first 10 minutes, and from there Dumfries was leading, not just on that side of the field, but really leading the game and man of the match, I think, in many persons' opinion. Yeah,
Denzel Dumfries, a great game. Anthony Robinson, as you mentioned, one of the bright sparks for the US throughout this World Cup and has been one of the bright sparks. Shavar, let me come to you now, because the US, they do have a lot of players playing in top leagues around the world, and you were telling us about the quality of the players the US have at this World Cup, but what was their downfall against the Netherlands?
They didn't play for 90 minutes. Like we said yesterday, they have to come out and play for 90 minutes, showed what they have showed the past two games, putting teams on the back foot. Yes, they got an early chance, but it was sort of a mistake by the Dutch team.
But you have to take those, don't you? Christian Pulisic,
a mistake by who? Shavar, a mistake by who?
No doubt, he has to score that. I mean, he's the leader of the team, captain of the team. They're looking to him. You have big time game. You have to finish that chance. But nevertheless, I think the Dutch was their performance still hasn't wowed me, but they're efficient. The first goal was a really good team goal. They break lines, switching the point of attack, good finish. And I can see from the first two goals they scored that they did their scouting homework, put the ball back on top of the D, because the number sixes of the US, they don't come back that often. And their finisher from Depay, then Blind the second goal right on top of the D. 2 goals same way. And then the man of the match, Dumfries, nice finish with his left foot. And he kept pushing Robinson back with his attack, putting him back on our back foot to defend for more minutes in the game than he could go forward. So, you know, U.S. late surge, but it never happened.
Coach Price, CONCACAF's participation at this tournament has come to an end. What was the difference in this contest?
Well, you know, I always told people that the CONCACAF teams wouldn't have been prepared to do a lot of damage in this World Cup. They're actually looking for 2026 to build a platform so that they can prepare themselves for hosting. I think the U.S. overachieved by getting to the round of 16. They did just enough to get into the round of 16, and they came up against a very good team. And I think one of the changing points of the game today was the defensive unit of the Netherlands team. Ake, Timber, and Van Dijk had a wonderful game, and it allowed people like Dumfries and Blin the ability to go forward. And I was expecting that the US would use that to counter them by going down the flanks when these players leave out from the back. But the three defenders were very astute today. They did very well. I think Van Dijk is having a good tournament. Aki is playing very well, and Timber is holding his own. Digitally can't even get into the team right now. So things are looking up for the Netherlands as they get ready to play Argentina in the quarterfinal. It's going to be a good game, but this was a good turning point. I was also happy to see the Pies starting and looking good, looking very energetic, moving around. He got his wish in the second half when Klassen was taken out and Bergwijn came in. So he always wants to play with him. So he got an opportunity to play with him, and you know, Gakpo was still lively. So things are on the up, looking for Netherlands. They aren't looking pretty, but they're getting the job done.
Yeah, certainly efficient, the Dutch so far, and they're through to the quarterfinals. We're going to take another break now on Final Whistle. When we come back, we wrap up our discussion between the Netherlands and the USA, and we continue looking ahead to what's to come tomorrow. Stay with us. All right, welcome back now to Final Whistle, continuing our discussion on that match between the Netherlands and the USA. The Netherlands winning that one by 3-1. Sharona Forster, tell us your thoughts on the game. I want you to give me it from the USA perspective now, since we've been talking about the CONCACAF teams at this World Cup. Was it that they were just completely overmatched, or was it that they just didn't take enough use of or make enough use of their chances?
Well, they didn't make use of the early chances, because when you're playing a stronger team and you know that there's a stronger team, when you get even a half chance, if you can convert those, then you may have a chance in the game. And they didn't do that. I find that they were outmatched, and it could be that they didn't have the luxury of making, 9 changes, and most of these players would have played all 3 games. But as we said, they're a young team, and this is a good springboard to prepare for 2026. And I think they're also missing a striker. Maybe a more direct approach would definitely assist them in getting the ball ahead a little quicker, and then the midfield joining the attack after.
Yeah, Coach Rademacher, you saw something about the US midfield.
Yeah, I think we've been talking very good about Musa, Adams, and McKennie, and that midfield, and lively, energetic. And I think what Sharona's saying, maybe that the legs getting a little heavy. But I think Netherlands won that battle. They had their tactics set out. We know they won't go through the midfield. They were very tight on them. They didn't give them much space. And I think America never really chose to say, hey, let's play around them. Let's try to go for these half spaces without going through the midfield. Or let's try to win this midfield battle and maybe try to overload it, create more space somehow. And I don't think they were successful in that. And I have to give credit, of course, to the Netherlands team that made it very difficult. But I think it was a little bit of, they were not expecting to have those three players not being able to find space and move the ball as smoothly as they were used to. So I think on that level, America should have at an earlier stage recognized this is not working. Let us not try to go through the middle and we'll just go out via the flanks from earlier, maybe even play some longer balls in transition. Because I do think with Dest on the right, there was a lot of moments with space that they didn't utilize properly.
Coach Coley, good springboard, you think, for the Americans going to 2026?
Yes, definitely. They're a very talented team, and I love the points that the other analysts have been speaking about in terms of even the legs. All the players they have been expending a lot of energy. The midfielders, the Musa, the Adams, the Mackenzie, especially Musa and Adams. What I would love to see, the American team, they play the same way against all teams, in which the three strikers create a block in front. I was looking at, but it was always against the back four. Now they're playing against a back three, where I was expecting sometimes for maybe one of the wingers closing down the Blind or the Dumfries, because Van Gaal, and I think it was a tactical battle, and I mean, credit to him, he did very well. In the build-up, Dumfries were going low, and then what happened was that, many times you saw Robinson following him, and it allowed him every time to be running back every single time when they break the line. So you find also Des on the right side, he's going up to Blind, and they're finding spaces behind him. So I think it was a very tactical battle, and I think Van Gaal did very well. There was great positional play from the Netherlands in possession and even out of possession, the way they defended and created the block. But I think as Coach Eric said, the coach could have done a little bit different in terms of in terms of how he probably pressed, in terms of how he defended, and even in terms of how they attack, as Sharon has said. But credit to the coach, I believe, in this game. A lot of things were very deliberate, very deliberate, and it worked for him. But the USA made too many big mistakes, I believe. The first goal you watch, yes, it was deliberate in terms of the pullback, but when you look at Musa, he was following Blin, and he was going with Blin, and Blin was going to Dest, but he could make probably a diagonal run inside to cover that space. You look at the third goal, nobody glancing, the goalkeeper not talking, the centre back not speaking to Robinson not glancing. It was about 7 seconds, and nobody glanced. So they're making a lot of mistakes, but maybe the legs maybe going, but at this level, you play the English Premier League, you're playing all the leagues, you're playing every 3 days, so they have to do much better. But a great performance from them, a great showing for the World Cup, and I think there will be a team to reckon in 2026.
Yeah, Liam, this US team is a young team, even for you, it should be still considered a young team. What are your thoughts on them for the next World Cup?
No, yeah, very young team. The only really experienced campaigner in terms of the starting lineup is Tim Ream. Yedlin also on the bench. He's also pretty, experienced. But yeah, they have a very young team. They look pretty dejected after losing the game today. But they have a lot going for them. They have a World Cup where majority of the games, it's in 3 different countries, but majority of the games are held in the US. So they have the home crowd, and they will have more experience. All of those players have more experience, as well as new young guys coming up. So a lot to look forward for them. As for the game today, I think just defensively, they gave Netherlands too much space. Dumfries, Blint, and Depay on all 3 goals just had way too much space, especially Dumfries. Maybe that's a result of Robertson and Dest pushing up too far, not coming back, and the Dumfries ended up having too much space on the right side to score an easy goal. But overall, no, yeah, a lot to look for the US team.
All right, so with the first round of 16 fixtures out of the way, let's look at how they match up now. I want to show you the bracket to give you an idea of what you are going to see going forward. Of course, the Netherlands will match up against Argentina after the results we saw today. Tomorrow, we're going to see the French team in action against Poland. And of course, England will play Senegal in their matchup tomorrow to determine who goes through to the quarterfinals. So you can start looking at that bracket now, start seeing who your team is likely to play in the quarters, in the semis, and in the final if they get there. Some people are counting their chickens before they hatch. Not necessarily a very good strategy. It could be Shavar with Argentina. It could also be Coach Rademacher's, because he's been, tooting the horn of the Netherlands, and he's saying that he's going to be wearing his shirt.
I want to apologize to all South Americans from now, Argentina and Brazil. I'm sorry, but we'll have to deal with it.
You want to spoil the South American party.
the way they put the bracket down, we'll have to deal with, Argentina now next, and then the winner between Brazil and, it's, apologies, Kai. I know it's deep-rooted, the love for these two teams.
Yeah, certainly that is a matchup that everyone looks forward to, not just in South America, but the rest of the world. But we'll see how it all shakes up. But I don't think anybody is willing to go out on a limb and make any predictions based on what we've been seeing at this World Cup so far. Gentlemen and lady, let's look forward to what we are going to see tomorrow as the round of 16 continues. Before we do that, though, we've been seeing some outpouring of well wishes to Brazilian legend Pelé, who is hospitalized at the moment. Harry Kane, the England captain, is one of those who has been sending those wishes. Let's hear what he had to say.
First and foremost, we send our best wishes to him and obviously all his family as well. And inspiration amongst our game, incredible footballer, incredible person. And to hear those words back then from him was really special for me. And I always feel like I'm someone who is always learning and will continue to learn for the rest of my career. So he was spot on with his advice. So of course, sad to hear that news, but we wish him well from not just me but the whole England setup as well.
Yeah, of course, Pelé, the 3-time World Cup winner for Brazil. The Brazilians play again on Monday. Let me just ask Coach Price. Coach, this with Pelé being hospitalized and the outpouring of support we've seen, it could be an emotional day when Brazil take the field on Monday.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think that the team will be considering him going into the game and want to go out there and do well for him. Pelé has inspired so many people. We don't have to ask about what he has done to Brazilians, but globally, he has been an icon for many people, So it's really sad to hear what's happening. Like I said, we wish him well and hope that, he'll continue to pull through. But definitely, it's going to be an emotional day for the Brazilians, and maybe it might very well inspire them to say, let's try and take on the World Cup for him this year.
Indeed, it might. We're going to take another break now on Final Whistle. Stay with us. Lots more discussion. We look ahead to what's to come tomorrow after the break. Welcome back now to Final Whistle, or post-game discussion show of everything that's happened at the greatest show on earth, currently taking place over there in Qatar. All right, let's look ahead to what's to come tomorrow now. France, the World Cup champions, the reigning champions from 2018, they'll take on Poland in their round of 16 contest tomorrow. Let us start off with Coach Coley for this one. Coach Coley, what can we expect from the title holders France going up against the Polish?
Well, these teams have played 16 times, with France winning 8 times and Poland winning 3 times. The last time Poland won was in 1982, and I believe that it will remain that way. The French team the last game, but I was in the stadium, and when the Mbappe came on and the Griezmann, it was a totally different game. Mbappe is basically unplayable. His speed, his variation, his rhythm, his awareness. I mean, he's a top-class player, and I believe tomorrow Cash will have a lot of work to do in terms of the 1v1 if they allow the 1v1 with Mbappe. But I'm expecting a solid game from the Polish team. As you know, many European teams in that area, that block, they play within a block, make it very difficult, like the Switzerland team. They have up top Lewandowski and Milik, and they will make it difficult for the defenders who have been in and out, a lot of changes in defense. And, it's the first time they will be coming up against 2 strikers. So it can create some problem. They also have a good team. But in the end, I think with the quality and, the trust and the camaraderie that the French team possess, they will come on top.
By the way, Coach, can you give us an idea of the atmosphere just generally in and around Doha and in the stadiums, the games you've been to? Because, of course, you get conflicting reports depending on who those reports are coming from.
No, it has been amazing, especially from the African team like Tunisia, the Morocco. They carry so many supporters. So when you watch the France game, maybe you have 5,000 French supporters, and the other 41,000 were from Tunisia. They have, on the train, sometime I go on the train, they're singing, chanting, and, it's always very peaceful to go in the stadium. What happened is, though, a lot of the stadiums, you have to walk maybe 15 minutes. And one of the reasons because, a lot of crowd, and, they try to, allow you to walk a little bit more, so it can kind of allow the crowd to separate a little bit. So it's easy to go on the train or take the bus. But that's been amazing. It's violence-free. No, there's no conflict whatsoever that I've experienced. I've seen, I was on the train and one person came on for saying he was supporting France, and they laugh about it, they joke about it, and stuff. And so it has been a friendly, family-orientated World Cup. And in the stadium is electrifying. Seeing from, I feel like I'm in Argentina, one of those places that it's have this football culture. So it's amazing.
Yeah, a couple of interesting points there. As I said, when you get the reports, depending on who you get it from, they paint the picture that, there's going to be all this controversy, all this conflict, and all this tension between the nations. And, I haven't heard anything like that coming out of Qatar, certainly. And you also made the point about the African countries and the support they have there. One of the points that was made before the World Cup is their proximity to the Middle East and the fact that a number of their fans would have been able to attend the World Cup. So I think that's one of the things that's not considered a lot, when they're saying, boy, Qatar wasn't ready, the country is too small, it's too hot, it's a desert, all these things were being said. But once the football kicked off and we've seen some excellent performances, I think we've quite forgotten about all of those issues that were coming up before the start of the World Cup. I want to switch the attention back now to France versus Poland. Coach Price, what are your expectations from this contest?
Well, the team is fully rested. Deschamps rested the team, 9 changes, so everybody should be fresh for this game tomorrow. I'm a little bit concerned for the Polish back three to be coming up against people like Dembele and Mbappe and Griezmann, and of course give you a different look, especially with Giroud playing as that point number 9. He's one of the few actual number 9s that are in this World Cup tournament. So I believe that the diversity that they have up front in the different ways where they can attack, they can either go down the flanks, they can either play inside, or they can go directly to Giroud to hold up the ball so that the attackers can come and support him, poses a lot of threat. And I think the Polish three-man defensive line will be under a lot of pressure tomorrow.
Yeah, England versus Senegal is the other contest on tomorrow in the round of 16. Coach Rademacher, let me start with you. What should we expect from this contest?
I was hoping to see the best from Senegal, but you know, of course, we know Mane out. Idrissa Gueye is suspended. I think Kouyaté is still on the injury list as well. So we might not see the full potential, but I'm still expecting to see a solid defensive work. I think Koulibaly, I mentioned that he's been I think one of the better leaders at this World Cup, and you know, as a centre back that really carries the team, and with Mendy behind him, I think there's a certain feeling like, you know, we can make it very difficult for England for them to score. In attack, I think that's more where, you know, they will be missing the extra firepower that they usually have, and a lot might come down on a player like Ismail Sarr to really, you know, be a bright spark and create something. So I think
does he, especially with his experience playing in England, have the qualities to go up against their wide players and destroy them?
Well, you know, if you put it like that, it's going to be difficult. I mean, we look at, you just said it earlier, Australia's list of players and where they play. And yes, play in England, Watford, but you're going up against players that play with Champions League week in, week out, for win 5 Champions League and those things. So it wouldn't make sense for him to destroy them, but I do think that he has the ability to really create something. Might not destroy them for 90 minutes, but
he can't go up against Maguire?
I do think that individual, he can, as I say, he can beat players, but he won't be destroying no defensive line for 90 minutes. But especially Shavar, I'm happy you mentioned it as well. There are players in that back line that make mistakes. And Maguire is definitely one of those players that if you really pressure him and you try to chip out something out of him, you're going to have 1 or 2 moments you can really take advantage.
Yeah, Shavar, you're a defender yourself. You know, they always talk about the defensive errors, but defenders always get the blame when the team loses. But when the team wins, it's the attackers that get the credit. But Harry Maguire hasn't really put a foot wrong so far this World Cup, neither him nor John Stones. Do you think that there are areas that they can exploit this Senegalese team against the English defense?
Of course, with their speed and their athleticism up front, they definitely can, you know, put those guys on the back foot. And we talk about Maguire, but also John Stones, he's been doing really well, but he still does, when you watch him in game, have that one mistake or that one lapse of concentration throughout his game. I'm still not so sold on left back Shaw. You know, I mean, you still can get behind him. He's doing well going forward, but defensively, I have questions and I have my doubts. I look to the Senegal back line, which is very tough, you know, solid, and with a proven leader in Koulibaly, as Coach Rademacher said. Also, when you look at the English front line, they're still, the coaching staff is still probably trying to figure out what's the best combination right there. And with their captain, haven't scored a goal yet. You know, so there's a lot of question there. So if you're asking me who I would give the hedge, right now it would be the Senegal team. Once they come out and they're concentrated and focused, I think I'll give them the edge.
Sharona?
I think the quality that England has, if they get it right, it will be a ding-dong battle down to the end.
What do they need to get right? What specifically?
Well, they need to get the players, you know, what combination to use and, you know, who will do it for them. But I also think Senegal, I think if Dyer, if he has a good game, along with Sarr, will really create problems for the English backline.
Yeah, the English media obviously talk a lot about who should play, who shouldn't play. We've talked about that on this program. Liam, who should start for England tomorrow against Senegal?
Well, I would like to see personally the likes of Rashford and Foden making a start. Definitely Foden, and you know Rashford too. They both bring a spark, and Rashford. I understand not starting Rashford at the start of the tournament. You know, based off the season he's had, not the greatest, but he was fantastic in the last game, scoring that free kick goal. So definitely start him. Foden, I think, should have been in the starting lineup from the get-go. I think he's been a bright spark for City, and he can bring that for England. So definitely them two. And then I just want to touch on Senegal. You know, I expect them not to have a lot of possession. tomorrow. You know, against Ecuador, they had like 38% possession, I think it was, and won the game. And against Netherlands as well, they played a very good game against Netherlands, never had the possession. So, you know, England will be on the front foot, but expect Senegal to be pretty dangerous because, you know, we saw Australia bringing Argentina to 2-1. On paper, Australia really don't have a good team, whereas Senegal, you know, yes, they're missing their Mane up front, but up top they have a lot of, you know, league on players that are still have quality in them that can pose a threat for this England team.
Thank you so much, Liam. Sorry to cut you. We've got to continue the discussions after we see the games tomorrow. Thank you so much for joining us. Thanks to all the panelists, Liam himself and Miguel Coley on Zoom, and everyone who's in studio. Thanks to our producer, Yannick Jones, and thanks to you, the viewers. We're back with you with more on Final Whistle tomorrow after the game. We start at 4, remember. I'm Jordan Ford, saying bye-bye for now.